Hi, Family First Life family. Welcome back to Virtual Sales Made Easy. My name is Linda Lampasso. I'm with Peak Finance out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I'm heading up the Virtual Sales Made Easy for National. Today, we're going to talk about the psychology and structure of a virtual appointment. For me, guys, again, my goal here is to make everything as simple for you as possible. I do not want to try to reinvent the wheel of what you're already doing that may be working in home. I have a very specific inventory process that I go through. I've trained quite a bit on the financial inventory sheet and going through that in-home process. So if you've looked at those trainings or if you have something similar that you're doing that's already working, you want to continue to use that on the virtual platform. And again, this can be a Zoom, this can be a FaceTime, this could be a Google Duo, this could be Messenger, right? It doesn't matter what platform, you want to use the same process that you're using in home. So when I actually start that appointment, I've got my inventory sheet in front of me every single appointment, just like I would if I was in home. So don't eliminate that structure. It becomes even more it becomes even more important when you're doing a virtual sale because it allows you to really maintain control of that appointment just as it does in person. But the control becomes even more important when you're behind a computer screen instead of right in front of that client, right? So one of the other things, once you have that structure, you have your in-home process, whatever that's going to be for you. There's tons of different videos out there on what's the most, effective in-home process. You can pick whatever you want to do. I use the one I've been using, for the last 10 years. I know it works for me. It's effective. So I didn't want to reinvent or change anything. And really, when I'm in an appointment, that structure is for me. I don't show that sheet to the client. So in my opinion, because I don't show it to them when I'm in an appointment, there's no reason that I would show it to them when I'm on a computer screen, or a phone screen. I feel like that becomes a distraction when my most important job on a virtual sale is to do what I can to build rapport quickly, to come across as a professional. So one of the ways that we can do that is, we talk about eye contact, right? You have to make sure that your camera is positioned accordingly so that when you're looking into the camera, just like I'm looking at all of you guys through a camera, I'm making that eye contact so that the person on the other end can see I'm a human being. I care about what we're going to talk about. I lean in, right? My body posture is expressive. They're going to see that through the screen. I'm going to get close to the screen. They might see a close-up of my face. It might not look, super attractive if you're worried about, looking a perfect way on a Zoom call or on any other virtual platform. It's just this idea of how can I connect with this person on the other end of the screen? So the psychology behind that is knowing that the most important part of your job is to build rapport with somebody. That's the starting place. But you have to do it really quickly, whether you're in home or on virtual, maybe 3 or 4 minutes, because the reality, guys, is they don't really want to sit with you for an hour on a Zoom call. They don't want to sit there and go through slide after slide in different presentations. They want it to be concise and to the point. Same thing if I'm in an appointment. I'm not going to sit there with a flip chart and go through 5 or 6 pages of content that's not relevant to them. So I'm going to carry through that, the same way on the virtual appointment. So body language, not having too many things on the screen. Personally, I don't put anything up on the screen. It's just me and that person having a conversation. I'm looking down at my paper as I'm taking notes, as I'm asking them the questions, right? Very straightforward. That's not changing. And I'm making every effort to continue to look back up at the screen, making that contact with them continually. If they make a joke, if one of them says something and I can jump in and be a part of that, I will stop what I'm doing and I'll look back up at them and I'll try to connect with what's going on for them. You can't make it all business either because then, it's almost like robotic and it's almost like you're just a quote engine. You're not a human being there to try to help them with their why, to try to help figure out, why are you guys talking in the first place, right? Why did they send in the form, whatever lead type it is? So I go out of my way, that's probably the most important part, is in that connecting early on. And when I transition to getting down to business, I literally will have a picture of the lead sheet physically, and I will hold it up to the camera. I do not show it to them on my computer. I hold it up on the camera. Guys, I know I sent you a picture of this because a lot of times for me, I do textile, okay? So I might send them a picture where they already have it. They know what it is that they filled out. But that's my start. It doesn't matter if they have it or not. I'm always going to start the same way. So guys, you filled out this form. I just like to show it to you again. I know I sent you a picture of it, but just in case Mary didn't see it as well, this is the form you filled out. I just want to make sure, I'm assuming this is the case like it is for most of our clients. There's a mortgage, there's a concern. Typically, we want to make sure that we can, God forbid something happens, we want to make sure we can either pay off the loan or have some kind of a payment protection scenario. I'm assuming that's the same for you guys, or I'm assuming that's the case for you guys. Very assumptive, and it is 9 out of 10 times. Then the only thing I say about myself the entire conversation, unless it comes up organically, right, where I'm asked a question or there's something in their situation where I feel like me sharing might serve a purpose, right? Like, somebody's maybe in their 40s and they're feeling invincible, and maybe they don't understand how the process works. I may share, well, gosh, guys, my 49-year-old husband was super healthy, not a health concern in the world, and he just had a stroke. He's uninsurable. But I will not bring up these things if I don't feel that they fit very specifically into the situation, okay? So just be really careful about, every single appointment saying the same thing, right? You want to listen, you want it to be organic, you want it to fit. And it doesn't mean that, people aren't somewhat interested in maybe what you're going to share personally, but 9 out of 10 times, they just want to talk about themselves and they want you to make them feel good about what they're talking about, okay? And your job is to be the expert. You're there as a professional to help them to establish the why, to help them to fit the void of coverage that they have with a product that, only you can offer them because you are a professional. So my transition is this every single time. Guys, just so you understand who I am, I work with about 25 different carriers who actually provide the coverage. What I'm going to do is just ask you a few questions, and then we're going to get right into what the best fit is for your scenario. This is not a one size fits all. Okay, that's why I needed to meet you in person or see you in person and verify some information. Is that fair enough? And then they're always like, perfect. So what have I done? I've opened the door for me to ask some pretty invasive questions over a virtual appointment. I would do the same exact thing if I was in home in front of them. Nothing is different. I'm not going to cut off parts of my in-home thinking that maybe that's too invasive or maybe they're not going to give me that information. I'm going to assume and I'm going to do my job the way I know how to, maintaining control. I am the expert. I have confidence. And when you're newer, that confidence takes time, and that's okay. That's why you're going to book twice as many appointments if you need to until you really feel that you are the expert. But you fake it till you make it, right? We hear that a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that, because 9 out of 10 times you're going to know a lot more than that person on the other end of the screen knows about what we're doing in this industry. Okay. So you're still providing a service, even if you're new. You can reach out easily. If you're behind a screen, you can easily text your manager for questions. There's a lot of pros to being behind a screen versus being in person. So when you get that in your mind, and again, this speaks to psychology and mindset of what we're doing, you have to believe that you are providing a service that nobody else can provide, and that you're doing it with dignity, and that you're asking questions if you don't know the answers so that you can better serve the people that you're serving, whether you're in person or virtual. The last thing I want to talk about, and it's really more of an analogy, is and again, mindset. So think about this. If you do a virtual doctor's appointment, and I'm sure a lot of us by now have done some kind of a virtual professional appointment of some kind, does the doctor before they get into what's going on for you, before they assess your scenario and recommend a treatment, does the doctor show you all of his credentials, all of his license, the licensing, where he's licensed? Does he show you, the ID? I think of it that way. I don't show my licenses. I don't show my ID. It's never come up for me. And I think it has to do with how I'm connecting early on so that they feel that there is a trust, that I don't need to whip out all these things to prove who I am and why I can do this. To me, that part is done when they filled out a form and mailed it in and it came back to me. I'm the expert responding to their request. And I have to think of it that way. Now, I'm not saying that you don't have it on your screen or don't prepare, I'm not saying don't be prepared, right? Like you have to have things there in case somebody asks for it, right? And I have it. All my licenses are there and my photo ID is on my computer. But I don't just do it randomly every single appointment because I don't feel it's needed. And then the last part is, what I'm finding is that more people, the only time I would do a screen share is when, I'm basically at a point where we're going to take an application. And this is the way I say it. Guys, I can go ahead and do a screen share with you. I just want you to know this is going into a secured site with the carrier, so nothing saves on my computer. I'm happy to do a screen share with you right now if you'd like to watch me input everything, or if you just want to sit back and relax, up to you. 9 out of 10 times, they will sit back and just give me the information I ask for. Okay, so you still read through the questions. That's your job. You're a field underwriter. But most people don't care to watch you go line by line through the application. So that's my spin on, posture, mindset, psychology, and the structure of my appointment. The main takeaway, again, is it's so much the same as it is when you're in person. Very little changes. The highlights that you're going to reinforce are going to be more eye contact, more body posture, very simple things. Leaning in, showing them that you're interested, asking them a lot of questions about themselves, and limiting the interaction on who you are other than what's professional. Because obviously they need to understand that you're an expert in the field and that you have licenses and you can play with however you want to say that. But make it about the client so that you can really help them establish their why and serve that family. Thank you guys for tuning in.